Feeling we're not in Brooklyn no more.
Luigi! Daisy! You better not hurt!
But luckily, we're not talking about that movie today. If you've been around here any length of time, and I appreciate it if you have been, welcome back to the Winter Wolf's Den, guys. You know that unfortunately, I don't often have the opportunity current day to see and review things that I've actually enjoyed lately. So when I get an opportunity, as you might have noticed the change in attire, to actually see something I get excited by, that I have a good time watching, I'm happy to finally offer up some positive vibes instead of just dunking on Star Wars and Marvel all the time. Yeah, Super Mario Bros. Is it. Highly recommend. You need to get out and see it. You need to bring your littles out to see it. You need to bring yourself out to see it. It's a guaranteed good time, and I'm going to guarantee you leave the theater smiling. There's no doubt you don't. But before I get into the specifics here, let me just give you the rundown real quick. Follow along. Present-day Mario and Luigi are kind of jokes back in Brooklyn. They're an upstart plumbing company that's kind of getting, a little laughed at by the community and their former employer. They get sucked down a drain pipe trying to have a hero moment early in the film. They end up in Mushroom Kingdom. Mario ends up in the kingdom. Luigi ends up, elsewhere and captured, as Luigi and other people tend to do. One thing leads to another. They run afoul of Bowser, who has a kind of a traditional movie villain plot to want to marry Peach, which was kind of cool to see a throwback to an old story move like that and not some other, just present day worldwide annihilation thing. People have to join forces. Everybody has a nice little character arc and a moment, and everybody lives happily ever after. I guess that's kind of spoilerific, but whatever. And on to spoilers as I touch on the review. Guys, this is exactly the kind of thing I hope Hollywood pays attention to, and yet they never do. We've seen it now come out in a couple of different fronts. We've seen this with movies like Sonic the Hedgehog. We've seen this with movies like, the Minion stuff, with, the Rise of Gru. We even see this with the grown-up stuff lately with, John Wick 4 and Top Gun Maverick a couple of years ago. Pay attention, executives. People are waiting and willing and ready to give you their money, to give you their dollars. When you give them something enjoyable that's not preachy and that doesn't make them feel like a-holes for being not born according to your current present-day prescribed checklist of things you must be in order to have an opinion or in order to count or to matter. This movie does away with all of that in short order. What we have here is a family-friendly movie. You can take your kids to it. There's no bad language. There's no innuendo. There's no suggestive themes. There's no, perceived sexual content of any kind. They're going to make you feel uncomfortable with watching this around your littles at all. What we get here instead is a traditional, kind of like almost a typical, almost bordering on paper thin kind of action adventure kind of story, which is fine. People like these movies when they speak to the heart. And Winter Wolf definitely believes this one did. There is a strong overarching theme here of family and loyalty and community that's center stage in this movie in a way that a lot of the other cynical junk out of Marvel and Star Wars just isn't these days. Right up there at the forefront in this one is the relationship between Mario and Luigi. These two together are completely believable as the older brother, younger brother. And as an older brother myself, I'm feeling everything about these two when they're on screen together. I looked at my son when we were doing our post-movie analysis, and I said, and why did they make it out of this little? How were they successful? And he said, Dad, because they're stronger together. And I said, I have taught you well, my son, go for it. Because it's a recurring theme throughout the flick. Non-stop is Mario taking up for Luigi and encouraging Luigi, and always sticking up for him. And it has a massive payoff at the end that I won't spoil for you, but to me, as a sucker for that kind of family vibe, it was up there with kind of like, an Avengers Assemble moment. It really was. You'll get there, you'll see what I'm talking about. The other stuff in the movie, just in terms of those relationships, is you can see that Princess Peach cares for her people. She cares for her toads. The toads love her as the ruler. It was good to see. We get other family dynamics that come up between, you know, Donkey Kong and his father in, you know, in their little section of the movie. Not a major relationship explored or anything like that, but it's a nice little arc that kind of parallels some of the early family drama that Mario has with his parents and extended family. So it's nice to see that in there also. So we got good family stuff all around, and it's all built up incrementally and then followed through and then paid off in the end. It's almost frustrating how easy this stuff is and how sad that Hollywood just doesn't get it and they don't put it in more things. Like, people will show up and give this movie money just because it's exactly what they're expecting, with no major subversions. We're done with that. That kind of nonsense is done. Give people what they want that they can latch onto, be inspired by or moved by, and not feel like garbage walking out of the theater. And this movie gives that to you. It's got its little in-jokes, you know, throwbacks to old Mario games. And if you're old school, I think you're going to like this movie just on the basis of that alone. They have little Easter eggs all over the place, and you have to check out other channels to get them in deep, because I've only seen this once and I know I missed them. But we got all kinds of good stuff, like, you know, at one point Mario's playing old 8-bit NES game Kid Icarus, when he's kind of chilling at his place after like a down family moment. You know, at the pizza place that they're frequenting at the beginning, up on the wall has pictures of the characters from old school Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. There's just cool vibes like that. And it runs right up until like modern day. You know, my son was telling me, I had to ask him because I missed a couple of Mario games back when, like Galaxy and Odyssey and Sunshine. And if I didn't recognize a character, I said, oh, hey, where's this one from? Where's this one from? And he was like, oh, this one's from Super Mario World 2, and this one's from Mario Sunshine, and oh, the cat suits from this game, and all kinds of cool stuff. Like, they literally pluck something from like every game. You know, even Baby Mario and Baby Luigi have a little cameo, but it's a heartfelt cameo. You know, where Baby Luigi's getting bullied on the playground, and, you know, even littler Mario, older bro, just comes bulldozing in over the bully, and then just like steps between the bully and Luigi, like, all right, well, come on, try it again. And it's good stuff, man. They tie it all together in a really endearing, really authentic way. So, you know, I'm here for all of that, man. I'm so sick and tired of other movies that are just so jaded and cynical. Like, we don't need any more of that for a while. Like, I think I'm done with anything that's just going to make me feel like a piece of shit coming out of the theater. But this wasn't it. We get here in this movie, you know, Easter eggs aside and family issues aside, the pace moves right along. Like, it felt like a Saturday morning cartoon, but it was like an hour and a half long, but it kept moving. And each next section logically pushed the story forward into like the next thing they had to do. And unlike other things, looking at you, Mandalorian, the movie wasn't one fetch quest after another. They had one objective, one main one, you know, to get the Kong army to join up so they could resist Bowser's invasion of the Mushroom Kingdom. And that was it. And, you know, and again, I already said spoilers, because, you know, if you haven't seen it, you need to get at it. And I'm going to throw the spoiler thing back at the beginning. Relax, sorry, forgot to mention it. They had one objective, to get the Kong army to help them resist the invasion, like I said, and they fail at it. Like, they have to backtrack and readjust their strategy, like disaster strikes. And you've heard me and King Z mention these kind of plot beats and you know, these story progression points before. Like, they have a legitimate Dark Night of the Soul here, where the good guys have appeared to have met their match and they lose. So they have to like regroup and come up with a new plan to be able to go succeed in their objectives, which, you know, for Mario is obviously rescue Luigi, and for Princess Peach it's to protect her kingdom. And Donkey Kong has a little goal of his own, and Toad has a little goal of his own. So everybody has something to do, and their strengths that they bring collectively to the table all kind of play out in the end. So you get all these logical beats that, while on the one hand you might think they're predictable, they really come across as so sincere that you don't mind, that it's like, this is what's supposed to happen. You know, when Donkey Kong, you know, he powers up and does his I'm Donkey Kong thing and has a little bit of, you know, strength to it, you're like, okay, that's what he's supposed to do. You know, Toad demonstrates his courage. Mario demonstrates his ability to never stay down. And Luigi comes up big in the clutch too. Princess Peach, the devout ruler of the kingdom, doesn't fail her people. She does intelligent things. She makes good decisions for the bettering of her people. You know, it was interesting to watch all of them kind of work in tandem in all their different spots to see how they collectively come together and, you know, use their powers to do the right thing. As far as some of the criticisms that maybe Super Mario Brothers is a woke kind of thing, I didn't see it, and you guys, if you've watched some of my old vids, you know the radar for the Winter Wolf is tuned high and tight for that. Princess Peach is a powerful person in this movie, but she's not a girl boss. She's generous, she's kind, she takes care of people, she assists Mario when he comes in. They very wisely explain why she's good at certain things. So it all has like an organic basis that makes sense. So she's not Rey Skywalker. She's not Captain Marvel. She's not a Mary Sue by any stretch. They have a couple of scenes where she's very much almost like an anime character, where she is kind of kicking her right amount of ass, but it makes sense how she gets from, point A to point B during the ass kicking. It didn't feel fake, and it doesn't come at the expense of everybody else. Like I just said, I just spent a few minutes talking about it. The other characters have their moments, and they have their specific ways that they help, that they save the day. But when it gets right down to it, it's Mario's day to save. He has 2 or 3 major moments down the stretch where it's his choice, where it's his agency, his decision making that moves him forward to do dangerous things, but the thing that needs to be done, and he's the only one that can do it. You know what I mean? So he has his hero moments. He's, as much as they do feature Princess Peach in this movie, it's very much a partnership in different places. Like, they don't do any back-to-back fighting. Like, it's not like that kind of thing. But they each take the lead when it makes sense for them to take a lead. So I wouldn't buy in any of the nonsensicalness. If you're in certain spheres on the net, you'll see it. I don't think this was that, and I think that the box office is going to prove that going forward. There's going to be a lot of goodwill for this movie. I hear it's already on pace to break the record set by Frozen 2 for opening weekend, I think it is. So this movie's not to be slept on or messed with. Some of the other things I really enjoyed out of it too, just the other little attentions to detail. And you guys heard us talking about this early on with The Last of Us. And one of the things we appreciate, both as fans and as storytellers ourselves, is when source material is just, if it's not going to be utilized to the fullest of its potential, you may as not put it in there, but you damn well should never disrespect your source material. That's kind of ridiculous. This movie gets a lot of things right. A lot of the sound effects they use were pulled right from the game, like the pipe teleport sound, fireball sounds were all there. I like seeing Rainbow Road. That was a highlight of the movie for me. That was pretty badass. I loved seeing that brought to life. Mario, when he gets a handle on his cart, he's actually like drifting corners. It was kind of cool. I was digging that. My son, like I said, and my better half, they were digging the Rainbow Road part, because they're throwing all the items out there. They had red shells, blue shells, green shells, banana peels. They had all kinds of cool stuff going on the road. So that was good stuff to see. The other levels all look kind of levels. They had so much other stuff that it looked straight yanked from the game, and I was digging it. Like, Mario's got a training course when he gets to, the Mushroom Kingdom that he's got to negotiate before Peach agrees to take him along to, to do the mission. And it looks like an episode, like a level out of like Mario Maker. Like, it's got the fireball spinny trap, and it's got piranha plants coming up and chompers and all kinds of stuff. Mushroom Kingdom looked great. The palace looked great. It reminded me of Mario 64. They come up on it like it's straight ahead, and Princess Peach's stained glass portrait is kind of like right up there, kind of gleaming in the sun. That was pretty cool imagery. I was loving that. Bowser's Palace, and I think they called it the Darklands or the Badlands. That looked great. It was kind of intimidating. The floating island thing, dropping like the spike balls as anchors. All good stuff, man. All good imagery there. Can't say enough good things about it. The other thing that I really enjoyed was just looking in the background for all the little cameos by characters. And I think, man, they might have checked them all off. They had Goombas, they had Green Koopas, they had Koopa Paratroopers and Spades, they had Cheep Cheeps, Squidlings, Shy Guys. Like I said, they had the Piranha Plants, they had Donkey, Diddy, and Cranky Kong. They had all different colors of Toads. There was some Yoshi appearances. Not like the main characters, the other colors of Yoshi, but there is a bit of a stinger scene at the end where you get to see Yoshi's green eggs. So I think that's obvious sequel bait right there. But there's no way this movie doesn't kick off an expanded universe. I don't see how they can't. Nintendo, call me. You guys are sleeping on a veritable goldmine, and I'm just talking about for Mario. Any other characters you guys have the rights to, like a Legend of Zelda movie. That needs to happen now. They need to get on that like yesterday. They need to call Capcom. They need to get Mega Man in-house. They need to do something with the Castlevania. I know Netflix did their show, but that needs to be here. They need to get a hold of Metroid. That needs to be in-house. Make moves, Metroid. This is it. Like, your opponents are weak right now with the exception of Sonic, and there's only so much Sonic I think they can do, because they get that live action barrier, as great as those two movies are. You have an opportunity here to score huge. Make this happen. There's so much untapped ground here. You've got all the goodwill in the world right now to make something really special. Marvel's on the ropes, Disney's on the ropes, their viewership and their profits are down. Now is the time, Mario. Like, make this happen. You can't sleep on this opportunity. Don't do it. But I think that covers it for my glowing review of Super Mario Bros. Take your kids to see this, take your date to see this, go out if you're bored on a Saturday afternoon, see it yourself. You won't regret it, I guarantee it. Solid 4.5 out of 5 for me. The plot was a little basic. I'm gonna take a half a star, no pun intended, off for that. But really, I got nothing bad to say about this. I'll probably go see this again later in the week, just so I can see if I missed anything in terms of Easter eggs, just on a personal level. But until next time, guys, Winter Wolf here is saying, let's go.